the early 20th century, Italy was a nation rife with political upheavals and an economy struggling to find its feet in the modern world. Amidst this chaos emerged Benito Mussolini, a man whose early years were marked by fervent support for socialism. A passionate journalist and a compelling orator, Mussolini was soon at the forefront of the Italian Socialist Party, rallying the masses with his call for change. Mussolini's role within the socialist movement was cut short, however, when his opinion on Italy's involvement in World War I diverged from the party's official stance. While the Socialist Party vehemently opposed Italy's participation, Mussolini was vocal about his support for the war, arguing that it was a means to unify and empower the nation. His controversial stance led to a rift with the party, and he was expelled in 1914. Undeterred, Mussolini embarked on a new path, one that would see him pivot from socialism to the burgeoning ideology of fascism. The post-war years in Italy were marked by disillusionment, and Mussolini seized the moment. In 1919, he founded the Fascist movement, crafting an ideology that capitalized on nationalist sentiment, a desire for order, and a rejection of the existing political system which many felt had failed them. By 1922, the rapidly expanding fascist movement gained momentum, culminating in the infamous March on Rome. A mass demonstration that was as much a political statement as it was a show of strength. The march signified Mussolini's determination to claim power. Faced with growing instability, King Victor Emmanuel III had a decision to make. Seeking Mussolini's apparent ability to restore order and prevent a civil war, the king appointed him Prime Minister of Italy, a move that would have significant repercussions. Thus began Mussolini's calculated consolidation of power. Through a mix of legal manipulation and outright intimidation, he dismantled the democratic institutions that stood in his path. By 1927, Mussolini's rule had transformed Italy into a one-party dictatorship, marking the birth of his totalitarian state ethos. In the sweltering summer of 1943, amidst the chaos of World War II, the tides began to turn against the Axis powers. Among these shifts, the Mediterranean island of Sicily became the stage for a pivotal confrontation. Allied forces launched an assault, aimed not just at expanding their control, but also at destabilizing the regime of Italy's longtime dictator, Benito Mussolini. King Victor Emmanuel III, once a puppet under Mussolini's shadow, grasped this moment of opportunity. He moved with a resolve uncharacteristic of his earlier indecisiveness, removing Mussolini from power and having him placed under arrest. The streets of Rome buzzed with rumors. Uncertainty hung in the air, and Italy seemed poised on the edge of an uncertain future. For Mussolini, the fall from power was a humiliating blow, yet his ordeal was far from over. Rescue came from the most unexpected quarters. As the leaves turned to the shades of autumn, the skies above Italy were darkened, not only by Allied bombers, but also by German forces. Adolf Hitler, desperate to keep Italy within the Axis fold, orchestrated an audacious plan. In a daring raid, German commandos broke into the remote hotel where Mussolini was held. Under the cover of darkness and uncertainty, they whisked him away to northern Italy. Here, in the shadow of the Alps, a new regime was forged, a puppet state with Mussolini as its figurehead, but his strings firmly gripped by Nazi hands. Years crept by, and as the clock turned to April 1945, the situation grew increasingly bleak for Mussolini and his beleaguered regime. Desperation led Mussolini to a decision born of fear. He would flee north, aiming to cross in a neutral Switzerland where he hoped, perhaps, for refuge or a platform for exile. Disguise seemed his only ally, and with his mistress, Cloretta Petacci, Mussolini attempted the impossible. Garbed in the uniform of a German soldier, he slipped into a convoy heading north. But the roads of Italy were no longer his realm. As they neared the serene, yet tumultuous waters of Lake Como, Italian partisans intercepted them. Recognizing the man who had once been the Duce, the partisans seized him. In those final moments, the weight of Mussolini's fate sank in, a drastic end to a tumultuous legacy. On April 28, 1945, beneath the looming presence of scattered clouds that hung low over the lake, Mussolini and Petacci faced execution by the partisans. The echo of gunfire marked the abrupt end of an era. Their bodies were transported to Milan, but not for the burial rites of statesmen. Instead, in a public square, the bodies of Mussolini and Petacci were displayed for all to see. Hung ignominiously alongside other fascist officials, the sight was both macabre and symbolic, a cautionary tableau of tyranny toppled.